conflict. A convoy of tractors from kibbutzim across Israel arrived today at Hostages Square in Tel Aviv, calling for the return of hostages held in Gaza. Meanwhile, the United Nations has warned that Gaza is the hungriest place on earth. Jens Laerke, spokesperson for the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, said Gaza is the only area in the world where the entire population faces famine. In the United States, President Donald Trump said Israel and Hamas are close to agreeing on a temporary ceasefire. The proposal put forward by Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff includes a 60-day initial ceasefire, with White House saying Israel has approved the plan, but Hamas is still reviewing it, saying it favors Israel and does not meet their demands. Israel's Defense Minister Israel Katz issued a stern warning to Hamas, urging them to accept the ceasefire proposal or face annihilation. According to reports, Israel is set to block a planned meeting in Ramallah in the occupied West Bank, ahead of an international conference on Palestinian statehood scheduled for June 17 to 20th in New York. The conference is co-chaired by France and Saudi Arabia. At the United Nations, the Arab group strongly rejected Israel's and the US-backed humanitarian aid distribution mechanism in Gaza, calling it a violation of international law. Mohammed Abu Shahab, the UAE envoy and leader of the Arab group, urged the Security Council to act immediately to end the war and Israel's blockade of Gaza. He condemned the use of starvation as a weapon of war and called for an immediate, unconditional, and permanent ceasefire, along with the release of all hostages and detainees. Now we have guests joining us, Ali M. Abu Shbak, independent Palestinian researcher from Cairo. Thank you for joining us, Ali. Israel's defense minister has issued a harsh warning to Hamas. What exactly does the latest UN-backed ceasefire proposal include?
Thank you, Osama, for having me. And in the fact, the situation on the ground, it's not like easy as we hear from in media and from the report that Hamas do accept the report or accept the deal with Israel or the ceasefire temporarily. So the thing is, yesterday Donald Trump, he confirmed that we are so close to the deal between Hamas and Israel for temporary ceasefire. At the time, Hamas going to release 10 hostages that captive in Gaza, and for 60 days of ceasefire between Gaza and Israel. Up to now, and this is the proposal put by Witkoff, and up to now, since past 1 week, we are hearing there is a progress and there is a development in this negotiation or talk between Hamas and Witkoff through the mediator, or from direct or indirect talk between Hamas and the mediator. So the things is, up to now, there is a report. They said Hamas has a positive perspective about the new deal, despite there is no guarantee for ceasefire that will have Israel could be at any time during the 60 days of ceasefire could be resumed the fire and the fighting in Gaza. Meanwhile, yesterday night, Israel asked some Palestinians from northern part of Gaza to displace their area, especially from Jabalia and from Jabalia city, Jabalia campaign, refugee camps, as well as from Al-Karama neighborhood, that from western northern Gaza. So the thing is, up to now, it's not clear whether Hamas is going to be accept the new deal with the 60 days temporary ceasefire or no. Hamas confirmed there is a red lines for the acceptance of the new deal should be a guarantee 100% for Israel will not resume the war in Gaza. and also at the same time, the Palestinian function, other Palestinian parties accept the New Deal as a temporary solution, because they have to dodge the bullet in Gaza. The situation is completely miserable, and the people are suffering from the famine and starvation. So I guess this is a good breathe, not for Hamas, either not for the Israeli IDF or Israeli forces, but also for the people who are looking for a temporary breathe, and they are looking for a temporary rest from this continuous bombardment and relentless bombardment in Gaza. Also on the ground. If we witness the day yesterday, Hamas also announced they are targeting some Israeli forces. I guess there is a conflict on the ground, and there is not clear up to now either Hamas going to truly accept this proposal or no. But I guess Hamas has no other choice, because this is a demand for the people. But the New Deal there is no confirmation about the Israeli withdrawal from some places in Gaza, like Netzarim corridor, and also some areas Israel has taken and control it during during the past 3 months or 2 months from when Israel resumed the war in Gaza in the mid of March.
And Ali, we move on to next question. President Trump has said a ceasefire deal is close, and what's this statement or his assessment of Hamas's likely response?
So I guess there is Donald Trump. He's putting his pressure on the both side, Hamas and Israel as well as. So also there is a one mediator, Palestinian American, Jaja. His name is Jaja, and he's a Palestinian businessman in America, and he's also putting the pressure on Hamas to accept the deal, at least as a temporary time. To accept it. So Donald Trump, no doubt, he's putting his effort, but also his Witkoff, the envy, the Middle East envy for the peace. He's putting his effort to handle this case and handle this issue between Hamas and Israel. So I guess we are going to throw the good news from both sides, Hamas and Israel, since we are coming. The holidays is coming for Muslims, so Hamas needs, or the Palestinians need, at least temporary truce between and stop the fire, the fight and the fire in Gaza.
Right.
So I guess we are coming to hear a good news with the coming days.
Hopefully. And last but not least, the UN calls the humanitarian situation in Gaza the worst since the war began. And what can you tell us about it?
Uzma, unfortunately, the situation on the ground is completely dire. Yesterday, I was talking to one of the civilians. He's suffering from staying in northern Gaza, and completely situation is dire, especially about the humanitarian aid. It's not distributed equally, and there is a lot of attack from the people, and they steal the flour, they steal some supplies. So there is a no equal distribution for this humanitarian aid, as well as the price of the salary and the price of the supplies. It's incredibly, no one can imagine it. If you will buy a 1 kg of flours, it's crossing $50 or $100. So this is things for the ordinary people, they can't handle it, and people are suffering from the starvation. They can't secure the food for their families. Most of the families, they eat one meal a day, and they have going through a really incredible situation. So on the ground, people are demanding and they're asking for a breathe at least, and to stop the fire, to see their home, because as you know, the summer is coming in Gaza, as several of people, they living in tent, and there is no shelter. Their home is completely destroyed. So you can't imagine how much also the children, and they are suffering from the famine. the
Yes.
patient, there is no treatment for the patient in hospitals. So the thing is, you can't imagine that how is the humanitarian situation in Gaza, as
Ali,
well as
we will have to move on.